Hey, my name is Attorney Walter Rudolph Hnot III. I'm with Disability Resolution PA, and today what we're going to be going over is basically what makes big box disability attorneys different from small box disability attorneys. Well, first and foremost, you're not going to see big box disability attorneys even making YouTube videos because they don't care. The firm just mass advertises on TV and then the big billboards, and people hire them because they don't even realize other attorneys exist. So that's number one. Number two is that big box attorneys are literally a 10-pound bag filled with 20-pound bag of claimants, and they have to somehow get them all through and process as quickly as they can. When I say get them all through, I don't mean approved. I mean just like get them through the ride, the initial filing, reconsideration, ALJ, and then most of them stop there. They don't even do appeals counsel. Okay, so the disability attorney from a big box firm usually has more claimants to process because remember, they have to make enough money to go ahead and pay for the corporation and themselves, and the corporation mass advertises. So they're just gonna go through them as quickly as possible to process as many as they can because they know that a certain percentage of those ones that they quickly process will go ahead and go through just based upon the merits of the medical evidence without having to do anything for them. Because of that, the kicker and the problem is that if you're one of those like gray room areas, you know what I mean, where it's like it might go through, it might not, you need to build it up. You didn't get all the, let's say you didn't get all the medications you needed, you didn't get all the medical devices that you needed, like ambulatory devices. You didn't get a brief prepared that explains how you meet equal or exceed the listing, or how you should have vocational law. Let's say you didn't have any of that stuff, right? And your claim was in the gray area. And when I say gray area, denials, approvals, gray area. We're not talking gray area, we're talking gray area. And that's kind of the thing that a lot of people don't realize, is that a lot of this system was invented by humans, it's run by humans, and it's about finding humans disabled for human-related impairments, right? That's the whole thing, is that if you're medically severe or you're pretty bad with a lot of things and medically moderate to severe, but you still, equate to a vocational limitation, right? Because you can either get a listing where you stop at element 3 and that's it. A lot of people are like, no, you have to go through all 5. No, you don't. You only go to element 3 for if you meet equal or exceed a listing. But in order to meet equal or exceed a listing, you have to have severe disability, which is realistically a super epic severe disability. I mean, those puppies are written in where it's like, whoa. The only ones where there's some subjective wiggle room here and there are the mental ones, which is why a lot of people try for depression, anxiety, things like that. But that's also why they recently, over the past couple of years, modified those listings. I just threw a lot at you that has nothing to do with the question we were supposed to be talking about. What makes big box disability attorneys different from small box disability attorneys, right? Okay. So the bottom line is that the small box disability attorneys will usually write a brief for your hearing, right? It's not just for you, it's for them, because they usually need to know what's going on and they need a glance. They need to be able to go, okay, it's 5F, page 32, 114, 2015. It's got all the crap that they need to go ahead and make sure that they are on target when the judge asks what's going on, okay? Because otherwise, we can't remember all that stuff, all these different claims. That's why we have a brief. Big box attorneys almost never write a brief. If it is, it's a 1-page or maybe 1 paragraph, stuff like that. Okay. Next thing, let's go through this. When it comes down to big box attorneys, so they're usually sitting at the hearing office because they have so many claimants. They're not actually at an office at the law firm working the claim up. They're usually just sitting at the hearing office waiting to go into their next hearing. So they've got, basically an issue where they have to rely on, basically non-legal, or I guess they're legal, they're just not attorney, staff to kind of build the claim. That's why you have such a hard time getting them, because they're usually just sitting at the hearing office the whole day. And the reason that is because, they have so many hearings just thrown at them from the mega advertising. Me, when you guys call, sometimes you actually get me on the phone the first time. Sometimes I'll call you back, or if you just request to catch me, usually I'll call. Now, to be fair with me, I usually call you guys back, anywhere throughout the day, but a lot of you get phone calls from me after, 5, 6, 7 p.m. because I'm working all day and doing stuff, and then I don't have a kid, I don't have a wife, so bottom line, I do phone calls all the way until basically I hit 10, 11, and people get pissy after you call them after 11. So unless they're my homeless claimants that have drug problems, then they always seem to be available. So unless it's the morning or 9 to 5, So with that said, how are the big box attorneys different? Well, big box attorneys are usually just sitting at the hearing office. Small box attorneys can basically go ahead and speak with you from an office setting, because when you're in the hearing office and you're actually there, it's tough to do phone calls. You're not going to be doing it in the lobby area. It's just, you're not going to be doing that. Okay, how are they different as well? So some small box firms don't have a lot of pre-prepped forms. My firm, which is a small box firm, has more pre-prepped template forms than pretty much any firm that's out there at this point. We have the 10-level system, we have the G1 through G4. Everything is templatized at this point. Everything. The 404.911 brief allowances, templatized. Expedited brief allowances, template. Everything's templatized at this point. Why? Because, once again, I don't have kids, don't have a wife. So with that said, like my big thing on Friday night is to work on my truck, or you keep in mind I grew up on a farm, so it's a little bit different. Like, people are like, I want to go to the movies, and I'm just like, I rent Netflix, so it'll pop up at some point. And when you don't have somebody to go with, yeah, there you go. Although I do go to the movies by myself because I don't care. All right, let's go through this. Some small firms don't have everything templatized. Big firms usually have a lot of stuff templatized. We have everything templatized. When it comes to your penal, academia, administrative, vocational, medical, all that stuff, super templatized. Why? Because I don't want to have to sit there and ask you basic questions that you can just write down the information onto a form that says, what high school did you go to? What lower school did you go to? What middle school did you go to? Blah, 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 and all that stuff. Like that, I don't have to sit and ask you that. If you go to an attorney that's literally sitting there being like, okay, now we're going to go through each one of these things, like, I don't know. That's a red flag for me. That should be all templatized. Okay, so let's talk about some other stuff. What's the difference between a big box attorney and a small box disability attorney? Well, the small box disability attorney is more likely to work with you on custom issues. The big box attorney, it's like McDonald's, comes in here, we put the patty down, we put the meat on top, we start to put the lettuce and the tomato and the yada, and then boom, it gets there. If it's not on the menu, it ain't happening. So, okay, I was speaking with a claimant yesterday, and she said, you're not like any of the attorneys in Florida. And I said, why is that? She's like, because you actually care. I want to clarify that. I care because I work with a lot of homeless, low income, and a good chunk of them are drug users, murderers, rapists, child molesters, just bad people who are harming other people, stuff like that. I also work with a lot of great people, but I could see how a normal person from a normal family, from a normal existence, from a normal town could automatically, in a very short period of time, lose everything. I mean, lose everything. So for me, it's a good reminder every time I go out there and work with people, it doesn't take much for you to lose everything. And I don't want to lose everything. I spent a lot of time getting a lot of stuff that ultimately I thought was like what I needed to exist, and now I'm just like, I don't use it, I don't need it, I don't want it, blah, blah, blah. So I'm actually right now, I'm going through and selling a lot of the stuff that I own. Like the rare drum kit I have, and the rare guitars that I have, and the rare I don't use any of this stuff. You know what I mean? Like this is Saturday morning. Hi, I don't use that stuff. So what you'll find is that disability attorneys from small box firms are way more often willing to talk about overpayment claims, or way more willing to talk about child claims, or way more willing to talk about claimants under 50, all that stuff. Okay. What's the difference between big box disability firms and small box disability firms? Big box disability firms, it's usually one of those deals where it's hard to get an interview unless it's over the phone and you're just talking to a receptionist. Like, it's hard to physically get into the office. I know small box firms, the way I did it was way different. I set up a bunch of like satellite-based offices to meet with you guys in all these different locations throughout Orlando, and then it kind of grew from there. The idea here is that most of my claimants have a hard time getting from point A to point B. And I mean like bicycle, bus. Some of them can't ride on a bus because they get in fights. Some of them can't ride on a bicycle because, it's bouncing up and down, it hurts their back, hip, leg, whatever. So the bottom line of this is I kind of made my system more available to the general public to be able to find me. So if you walk out of a woods, you're probably not that far from an office to be able to get to me. And the reason I did that is because having one, all the, the attorneys and all the different, you got to hang your shingle, and that really means just set up an office somewhere and start working, yada, yada. But the problem with that is that is for a world of people that know how to drive or have a license or have a car, because I know a lot of people that drive without a license. And that's also a world where basically, it's structured around the identity of people with money being able to find you and hire you. That's not who I work with. Almost, I'd say probably 95% of the people I work with don't have money to hire me, which is why the government pays me from their back pay / retroactive benefits. So the bottom line here is this: there's a lot of different things between a big box firm and a small box firm. You guys add some more things in the comments as to what you think the difference is and what you think you should know. There is one thing I want to point out. There's a scam going on in Florida right now where there's this human art group, and this human art group basically goes into hospital rooms and works with people and then signs them up for disability benefits through Champion Disability, which is a firm that I don't even think is in Florida. It has nothing to do with it. That's akin to basically a PI attorney walking up and down the halls of the hospital saying, do you need a personal injury attorney? They're not allowed to do that. They're not. And this human arc through Champion Disability is doing that, which is illegal. And there will be a whole ethical complaint, yada, yada, against them. But the bottom line is just be aware of the human arc scam. It's bad, and a lot of people are not happy. Well, I mean, the thing is it's self-destructive too, so it's not going to be around forever, even based upon their own actions, because they're just not getting any good results. So beyond that, I'm getting a bunch of people calling me and bitching me out about them. So my point to you is just be aware there's this human arc Champion Disability thing going around, and it's, for my definition of what a scam is and unethical, it falls into that, because they go into the hospitals and literally sign people up there to go talk to Champion to go get signed up to work with them. So I think it's unethical. I know it's unethical. I know it's unethical with the bar. So in my opinion, that is in itself call it a scam, call it whatever you want, but the bottom line is it's wrong. So just be aware of that. Another thing you need to be aware of, and this is kind of outside of the difference between a big box firm and a small box firm, is the one guy show. The one guy show is the non-attorney who doesn't have a reception, doesn't have client bases for the most part. He's just a non-legal rep, and he just goes around and signs you up, and then basically if you get found disabled, he collects 25%. The attorneys get paid 25%, and they work a claim. So why would you hire a non-legal rep to just basically sign you up and maybe answer some questions here and there? They're not going to be able to write a brief for the most part, because they're not attorneys and they're not capable of practicing law, because it would be illegal for them to claim that they could practice law. Now, anybody can represent you, here's the trick, for disability benefits, right? Anybody can represent you. But would you choose an attorney, or would you choose a non-legal rep? Would you choose a family member, or would you choose an attorney? Would you choose an attorney that has time for you, or would you choose an attorney that doesn't have time for you? Doesn't matter to me, you get to choose, but bottom line is choose somebody who's local. So if you're in Maine, find somebody that's local. And when I say local, I don't mean it has to be like in your county. It can be a county over. It doesn't matter. It can be 5 counties over. Just make sure they're local enough that they can service your needs. Okay? All right, my name is Attorney Walter Rudolph Hnot III. I'm with Disability Resolution PA, an Orlando, Orange County-based Social Security disability law firm. If you would like the most up-to-date information, a free consultation, or a custom video made about a particular topic that you like, shoot me an email or give me a call. Now, there's a deal. If I help you and you're out of my state area, like you're not in Florida, Georgia, stuff like that, then what that means is you have to leave me on multiple websites 5 stars. So if I'm calling you back, emailing you back, and I'm working and helping you, yada, yada, then that means you have to leave me 5 stars. And also, tell me if you already have an attorney, and I'm telling you ahead of time right now, if you already have an attorney, I can only give you a second opinion, okay? I can go ahead and basically, walk you through what you should be doing or issues that are currently going on in the claim. But if you already have an attorney, I can only give you a second opinion unless you fire that other attorney. And I don't always recommend firing the attorney. I usually recommend that you go and I always recommend that you go try and work things out unless there's some sort of ethical issue or yada, yada, yada. All right? My name is Attorney Walter Rudolph Hnot III. I'm with Disability Resolution PA, an Orlando, Orange County-based Social Security disability law firm. Have an absolutely wonderful Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, whatever day you're on, and we'll go from there. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.